So, as Zeus says in the prologue to Jack Spicer's early play, Troilus, one thing you'd better get out of your mind at the start is all this nonsense about the Trojan horse and the fall of Troy. The Trojan War has been going on for the last 3,000 years and it hasn't stopped yet. All the stories you've heard about the destruction of Troy are just daydreams Ulysses invented to keep himself sane. You've probably dreamed like that yourselves, waiting for a war to come to an end. One thing though, people in the play don't seem to know how long the war has lasted. They have the idea that it's only been going on for 9 years or so. I don't know why. Human beings don't have a very good time sense. I find this disclaimer to be spooky as it is prescient, given that we're fast approaching the 9-year anniversary of one war, and next month marks the 7-year anniversary of another. In a lighter sense, perhaps, the play also reveals Spicer's attitude towards poetry, an internal contest with language in which one patiently plays alongside many other poets from many other times. Spicer loved Chaucer's long poem, Troilus and Cressida, and had much of it down by heart. In his version, Ulysses is a frustrated poet, using the war to practice new techniques. And the gods are the invisible forces characters both worship and channel, an early version of Spicer's idea about spooks and Martians that provide the substance of poetry. There's much that we've had to cut out of this long 5-act play, which has only recently been published for the first time in No, a Journal of the Arts. Gone is Achilles and his lover Patroclus, while Ulysses only makes a brief appearance. Instead, we focus on the story of Troilus and Cressida. At the point where we pick up the action, they've already been introduced, and as with all romances that spring up in the midst of war, things are moving along very quickly.
What's the salt, please?
That was one of the best funerals we ever had. Didn't you think so, Cressida?
It was a great funeral.
That priest they have to replace Calchas seems to be quite satisfactory. Didn't you think so, Troilus?
Yeah, I don't know where Father got him from. Father, he's been getting very fussy about religious matters lately. Following the priests around, getting in their way when they're trying to sacrifice, telling them just the right way to perform every ceremony. Young man, he'll say, that isn't quite the way we do things around here. The blood is supposed to flow counterclockwise when you sacrifice the Artemis. I hate my father.
I hate my father too.
Good. I mean, not because of all this business about the Greeks, but because he's your father.
I don't even remember my father, but I'm willing to hate him, just to keep you two company. He was your mother's father, Cressida.
Yeah.
Why do you hate your father, Cressida?
Well, because he's ridiculous, and because he's fussy about things. For years, he's been making these long-winded speeches at home about how offensive the war was to the gods and how the Trojans should get rid of Helen. But he always made the speeches at home.
And then one day he just deserted to the Greeks.
It wasn't quite that way. The Greeks just happened to be there. He doesn't believe in their side either.
Why does he stay with them then?
Well, he has to stay somewhere. He's an idealist.
So is mine. That's great.
Aren't you going to ask me now what I think about the war?
You don't think
Whether
about
I
the
agree
war.
with my father?
You don't think about the war at all, Cressida. No one thinks about it. I mean, people talk about it sometimes, but that's about as far as it goes.
I don't think about anything.
You must get pretty bored.
I do, Uncle. Awfully bored.
You know, they all let the women fight in the wars too. I mean, they pretend that women are causing their wars, but they don't let them fight.
Would you like to fight in a war, Cressida?
It'd be a lot better than thinking.
It would be marvelous. You, Mother, Helen, all out there in the battlefield, Andromache slashing at Achilles with an axe. I bet the Greeks would be jealous.
I'd better get these dishes off the table.
Yeah,
They'll
why
be
don't
here
you
for weeks.
Make yourself.
Why don't you two just kind of keep yourself amused?
Oh, Pandarus, I didn't tell you. I got a letter from Father today.
From Calchas?
Yeah, there was an exchange of some foot soldiers, and they handed over the letter with the prisoners. He wants me to come live with him.
He wants you to go back over to the Greeks?
Well, he didn't put it that way. He wants me to be a loyal daughter and to show everyone that I, at least, respect his integrity.
You're not going, are you?
Well, no, I mean, if he merely said that he wanted to see me and that one side was as good as another, I'd have packed my bags and slipped through the gate as soon as I received the letter. But of course he didn't. He wouldn't be there in the first place if he could say something like that. Well, you'd feel the same way too, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any point in changing the side you start with. You won't leave Troy, will you?
Uncle has a nice apartment, doesn't he?
Is this the first time you've been here?
Yeah, Uncle hasn't paid much attention to Father.
You know, why don't you have some more wine?
Okay, thank you.
It's a
Yeah,
beautiful
I thought-
apartment. The pictures and the...
Oh, God.
It's-
All right, thanks.
I love you, Cressida.
You love me.
You love me?
I think so. Uncle, there's been an accident.